What's going on, you guys? My name is Julian, and today I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my story. What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Julian. I am a first-year medical student here at St. George's University, and today I just want to go ahead and give you guys a little bit more about my story, or what some people may know as my testimony. Now, the reason why I want to give you guys my story, my testimony, is because I want to go ahead and give the audience a better understanding of who I am as a person and what to better expect, or what to expect rather, from my channel specifically. So here it goes. So my name is Julian. I am from Southern Oregon. I was born in California, but my parents brought us over to Southern Oregon when I was 2. So I was raised in Southern Oregon, and I basically grew up in the church. I have 3 sisters, and my dad was never really in my life. So basically, the church was always a big part of my life growing up. And when I was about 14 years old, I had a decision to make whether or not I wanted to continue going to that church. It was a non-denominational Spanish-speaking church. And my mom basically asked me if I wanted to continue going to that church or not. And of course, being 14 at that time, I was a freshman in high school. I basically said, well, I don't want to go. So I stopped going to the church, and soon after that, I started getting into some trouble with my school, with law enforcement, and somehow, by the grace of God, I was able to graduate with my diploma, although I wasn't able to graduate with my class at that time because I was expelled. So when I was 18, I moved out of my mom's house, and I went to a different city to go live with my sister. And I basically got kicked out of her house because I couldn't stop, smoking weed and drinking alcohol. I was really heavily involved in doing drugs at that time, and it's always been a huge part of my life. When I was 14, that was when I was first introduced into alcohol. 15, I was, involved in that was when I was first introduced to weed, and it was just a huge part of my life at that time. So of course I get kicked out of my sister's house, and I moved back over to my hometown, and I was working, and then I quit my job for whatever reason, and I ended up in this pot farm, and I was helping take care of this pot farm in order to have a place to stay. And it was at that time, I was about 19, where I decided to look at my life, and at that time, I have gotten pulled over about a few months before that, and I got my first DUI. So I had my license taken away. And so here I was at this location. Basically, it was like an exchange, work thing, and I was just helping take care of the pot farm, just to have a place to stay. So I had no job, no license, no basically ambition, no career goals. I basically had nothing. I didn't have a car, I didn't have anything. And I was just devastated. I was at a place in my life where I realized that this is not who I am. This is not what I feel the Lord wants me to be. And at that time, believe it or not, I was still praying. I was still praying to God. I was still asking Him to take care of me, to take care of my family, but I never had a personal relationship with His Son. So for whatever reason, I felt something inside me say, go to your uncle's house. And so I went. So I went to my uncle's house, and at that time, my little sister was living with my uncle and in my uncle's family. And I went and visited my little sister, and we hung out. And basically, my uncle at that time was an elder at the church there, and he was always a big part of my life. And he could look into my eyes and see that I was just devastated. I was done. So he asked me what was wrong. And at first I tried to just brush it off. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. But he knew that nothing was okay. He knew that deep down, through my eyes, he could tell that something was not right. So he asked me again, like, how are you doing? Like, really, how are you doing? He looked me like a laser in the eye, and I just broke down in tears. Like, that was when God first started to touch my heart and impact me. And I said, nothing's okay. Like, my life sucks. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. I don't have a license. I don't have anything. And I just was bawling at that time. Like, I don't really cry a lot, but like, that was the biggest time that I've cried in a very long time. So he just prayed for me at that time, and he knew a couple weeks later I had my birthday coming up, so he invited me over to his house for my birthday. And so on my 20th birthday, he invited me over to his house, and we talked more about God and what that means. And then he dropped me off back again at this pot farm because I was still living there, and he asked me if I wanted to truly start to follow Christ. And I said, yeah, of course. And he said it's best to do it with a sober mind, because at that time I was still smoking weed. At that time I was still drinking alcohol. And I said, okay, I'll think about it. The very next day, and this is the most beautiful supernatural thing, and I knew it was from God. The very next day, I had no desire to smoke. I had no desire to drink. I had no desire to do any type of drugs at all. Just from one night to the very next. And if that's not supernatural, if that's not God, then I don't know what is, because I know that the only way I had that desire lifted away from me was through Christ. And the very next day also, my old boss gives me a call. He said, do you want your job back? And I said, yes. So a couple weeks later, I get my job back. I'm working again. I'm going back to church, and I start this Bible study with an elder at the church. Really awesome guy. We still talk to this day. And at the end of the Bible study, this is like around March, he asked me if I wanted to follow Christ, like accept him into my life as my Lord and Savior. And I said yes. So March 2014, I was saved. I was a new creation, and I am a new creation. 6 months go by from there, and I get my license back. 6 more months go by, and I pay off all my court fees. And then a year goes by, and I decided to go back to school. So initially, I wanted to become a paramedic, but that fell through because I didn't have like certain vaccinations or whatever. And so I have all these biology courses under my belt. So I said, why not just do pre-med to see if I like it? And I'm gonna be honest with you, like science courses were tough for me, especially biology, especially chemistry. But eventually I had to retake a whole year, and we'll get into this like a little bit more of like how specifically I got into medical school in a different video. So stay tuned. But yeah, I had to do redo a whole year of like science courses to get my GPA of the science GPA up, as well as my overall science GPA, or my overall GPA up as well. So I redid a whole year of basic sciences, and then I went to Southern Oregon University, and from there I was able to graduate with my biology degree and with a minor in chemistry. And now I'm in medical school. That was all when I came to know Christ when I was 20 years old, and I am now 28 years old. So over 8 years has passed since I have come to know Christ. Actually, March, here in a little bit, will be 8 years since I began my relationship with Christ. And through it all, I still sin. I still mess up horribly all the time, but I know that that's been forgiven already. And I don't want to live in that kind of fear, It's because of Christ that I live. And I just kind of want to end my testimony with this verse. So it's in 1 John chapter 2, and it's going to be verses 15 through 17, where it says, "Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh, and the desires of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires, but whoever does the will of God abides forever. That last part really spoke to me because the fact that, yeah, I want to become a doctor one day, but the whole doctor thing is going to pass away one day. This world is going to pass away one day. But what doesn't pass away is the word of Christ, the word of God. And he's telling me right now, like, Julian, it's a great world out there. It's pretty, it's like enticing, but I want you to not love those things. I want you to care for those things, but I don't want you to love those things. And because it says, you know, all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh, the desires of the eyes, the pride of life, that's not from God, that's from this world. And I don't want to live for this world. I want to live for something more eternal. So thank you guys so much for listening to my testimony. That's very encouraging, knowing that there's some people out there that are just like listening to my testimony, and that's so awesome. You know, this is the kind of person that I am. And I've wanted to, not sure why I wanted to prolong this testimony. This could have been my first video on YouTube, but I want to let you guys know that this is my testimony. This is who I am. Yes, I'm a sinner, but I am saved by grace. And wherever you guys are at in your personal journey with God, whether you believe in God, whether you're atheist, whether whatever, I just want to let you know that there is a God out there, and that He does love you, and He wants to have a personal relationship with you. And He's not, you know, waiting to smite you with a hammer. He's loving, He's caring. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Peace.